example, the filled out sheet that we sent. Again, it's kind of a simplified version. So let me know when you can see the filled out example worksheet.
Okay, right there. This looks fine.
Perfect. So this is kind of our, our example one. It's very simplified. I anticipate and expect yours to be a little bit more like in depth, because it does really depend, and it is very specific. And we've found from other districts that things aren't usually quite as clear cut as we pretend they are on screen. But for example purposes, this is kind of what we're looking at. So again, that category. So we're looking at athletics eligibility. Again, this can be anything that you're tracking. The categories is, again, the kind of data. So it's kind of an overall umbrella. Sometimes you might have a measure, say like a state measure, like ACT or SAT. How are they doing on their SATs? Are they not like doing well? Are they, just surpassing everything? Is the student doing really, really well in all of their math classes and should be eligible for gifts and talent services?
Can I pause you for a second? And I think this is more of a question for maybe Pam, because the example that she's using here, they're using behavior. We're currently not, I don't think we're currently moving behavior from PowerSchool into Alpine yet, are we?
Not yet. Attendance was the first thing, but I thought behavior was on the radar.
Okay.
But it's not there just yet.
And so can I ask you, behavior, when that gets imported into Alpine from PowerSchool, is that like a open-ended text data field, or is that a like you have here of some sort of, I'm not sure how Alpine reads the behavior comes from PowerSchool. And because of that, I'm not sure how the early alert is going to read the behavior that Alpine is registering. Am I making sense?
Absolutely. Yep, you're making complete sense. That's a very good question, and that's one that we're getting quite a bit of this time of year. Behavior is just going to function like another measure in your Alpine account. So you'll export a spreadsheet with the student's name, their behavior infraction. So maybe Susie Q was having a really good week and she has no behavior infractions. Maybe she's having a bad week and she has 7. She just kept skipping class or something like that. So the behavior data, you can import it right into Alpine, just like any of your other measures. And since it's coming from your SIS system, you can automate it. Same thing typically with attendance and grades as well. Anything from your SIS, we just pull it into Alpine, just like your student file, and we can automate that, and it'll just kind of keep updating. As far as the format for behavior, typically we see a student's name, the date of the infraction, the behavior infraction, and then additional information like maybe location, if there's some sort of consequence associated with that behavior infraction.
Okay.
Which would probably all be in the log entry.
Guys, upload specs and different examples of the kind of behavior data we import. We have a number of districts importing behavior data currently, and we have a number that are planning to this year.
Okay.
So it's a pretty common one. It's, to be honest, behavior is like one of my favorite measures to set up because they're usually very clean, very quick to do.
Really?
Okay. So I can send you an example of that for behavior and attendance and grades.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yep. Happy to do that. So kind of part of the startup call is kind of figuring out, well, this is the kind of data we can import, and kind of developing a plan to get that data into Alpine so we can be really effective with these early alerts.
So I wonder, like an early alert, could we set up like they're on the bubble of NWEA and their attendance is weak and they're having behavior issues?
This is a perfect example of what you'd use it for. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, that's
great.
Or any of those.
Yes.
Right.
Or all of those.
Yeah.
Right. So if we know that if a kid misses 7 or more days, they're going to struggle with NWEA, and they're NWEA, they're on the bubble, then we need an alert saying this student's going to have issues.
Exactly.
Yep, exactly right. Right on the money.
This is going to be very interesting. I'm looking forward to this, which I was talking on the phone yesterday with Jim about getting us set up for automatic updates, uploads into Alpine. So we're kind of moving in that direction and I'm hoping by the end of next week, have that set up and working. So that could be very cool. Now, the way that we were going to set it up originally was just for the demographics. Is that any problem then to move it from just the demographic information to include attendance and then behavior? Or is that just
So
an
attendance and
easy?
behavior-
I'm sorry,
Right,
go
so
ahead.
attendance and behavior, they're gonna, yep. Attendance and behavior are gonna be their own measures, so they're gonna have kind of their own home in Alpine. I'm gonna navigate, switch screens again, I'm gonna navigate to the account. So let me know when you see your Alpine homepage,
We do.
and Pam, I'm logged in as you. Perfect. So your behavior and attendance are gonna live under local measures right here. So there'll
Okay.
be a little button that says attendance and a little one that says behavior.
Okay.
And that's where we're gonna pull your behavior and attendance data into.
And that's where I will
So
upload
if-
them?
Yep.
Yep.
Exactly right.
Okay.
So you can upload a spreadsheet like you did with your other data.
Mhm.
But since they are also coming from your SIS system, so you said you use PowerSchool?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. So we can also directly automate them from PowerSchool too, so that they just continuously update without you having to touch them.
Cool.
But yeah, they will live right in here, and they'll just be set up as new measures.
Okay.
Typically, what we need from you guys to set up your attendance, behavior, grades, really any measure, we just need a spreadsheet so we know what data to expect in each column, whether to read the column as a text field or to read a column as a number field, that kind of a thing.
Okay.
And when I send a follow-up email, I'll send an email that includes different, or a couple of different example upload specs for that information and kind of what we typically expect.
Well, it sounds to me like we're definitely going to need to do not only attendance, but grades and behavior. I would think those would be the three key ones for a lot of the different alerts that we would be concerned about. So I do believe from Lynn, I got the one on attendance, but I don't know about behavior or grades.
Okay. Yep, and I'll follow up with those. Again, they're pretty common measures, so they're usually pretty quick for us to set up. So I can kind of give you again some examples on the kind of different SIS systems, what you're able to pull out.
Mhm. Yeah, I would think that the attendance and the grades would not be a problem. I do wonder a little bit about the log entries because it is buried a little bit, but if you guys have been doing it before, then you've already figured that out, so.
Right. Right. So, yep. So grades and attendance, kind of again, depending on how you decide to upload those. It's a little bit of a different layout, and there might be a couple of different measures. So, for example, for attendance, and this is something that you might want to discuss with your team. So, for attendance, we can either, and we can actually load both if you really want, but usually you either have like kind of a running total of attendance. So, the student has one record for the year, and it continuously updates the number of times they've missed class or been tardy. We can also upload attendance records that make a new record for every instance. So Susie Q might have, missed class 15 days, so she'll have 15 records. Or we can set up a measure that has it, so Susie Q has one record, and either it says 0, or it says 1 or 2 or 3, and it kind of updates throughout the year as she misses class, or as she's tardy, that kind of
Yes.
thing. And again, that's something you can discuss with your team and kind of decide which would make most sense and be most useful to you. And if you decide, hey, we want to see it both ways, we can set it up that way too.
Okay.
So, so for this first step, like I said, kind of discuss with your team, decide on which alerts you want to start with. And you can just send me an email, be like, hey, we're looking at doing kind of like the ones you've been talking about earlier, kind of decide which ones you want to start with. Then I can kind of give you a little bit more advice on the kinds of things that we're seeing people pull into those types of alerts if you're not quite sure what data might be the best fit for that kind of alert.
Okay.
You guys have questions on what you need to discuss with your team or what we're looking to get back from you guys?
No, I want data to help us figure out what alerts achieve the goal, right? So NWA, if you're not familiar with it, is a test we give and it measures growth. And so it would be great to see the connection between growth and attendance or growth and behavior issues. So that way we can set up early alerts with those dynamics. I need about 3 months to just sit and look at data is what I need.
Right.
Well, also,
We're hoping.
and also we might be able to steal a little bit of what some other school districts are doing to kind of get us started.
Right. Is there any, are there any schools that have set up alerts with NW? I mean, is there any sharing of alerts between schools? Hey, we found this alert
Has been effective.
has been effective in letting us know ahead of time.
Yep, so this is the first year that we're doing alerts. So we haven't quite figured out exactly which ones people are finding the most useful.
Okay.
But I haven't in my calls had anyone pull an NWEA yet. But I'm going to be debriefing with Jim this afternoon. And I can ask him if he's at anyone and kind of see what kind of early alerts he's been setting up. I haven't done one with NWEA. I think he might have one client that was interested in running an alert with NWEA. But again, that's something we can definitely pull in and take a look at.
Okay.
For sure. So, again, you guys, I think are, right on track in deciding what you want to do. And I think, once you sit down with your principals and your schools and kind of see, maybe what they have in mind or what they're looking for, it'll give us a good direction and all that. And I think getting your behavior and attendance data in is a good start. It's a good step in the right direction as well.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
So, and we can share measures between districts. So if you guys are curious what other districts are doing, I can go and kind of hop into their accounts, see what they've kind of got going on and let you know. And if it's something that you might be interested in doing, we can turn it on for you as well. We can try it out too.
Okay.
So I can make a list and kind of let you know. And
That'd be
once
good.
those are kind of set up, then we are able to share them with you.
Okay. Thank you.
And making some notes to myself. Hold on just 1 second. Okay. Do you guys have any questions about that worksheet we sent out to you, or do you want to kind of discuss with your team and we can revisit that at a later time?
That would probably be best. Talking about it at a later time when we've had a chance to look at it and review it with the principals.
Perfect. Awesome. All right. So I will, this afternoon, I'll kind of follow up with an email with some information, more information about the behavior and attendance measures. And also kind of give you a list of what other districts are doing and what they're planning to pull into their measures.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem. I think that's probably enough information for this first call. Once you guys have had a chance to discuss with your team and really kind of look at what you might want to tackle first, let me know. We can schedule another call, or if you want to tackle this worksheet, feel free to do that too. There will be a little bit of back and forth as we kind of clarify what your interpretations are of data or what data you want to pull in. So that's totally to be expected. It's a little bit of a process, but once it's up and running, it'll just go and it'll just run and, produce those beautiful little graphs and lists of students.
So
Do you guys
let,
have any questions for me or anything else you want me to go over?
well, I did want to ask, so let's say that we have made an alert, an early alert, and we find after it has been running for a couple of months that we want to add another component to it. Is that difficult? Is that a problem? Do we get our hand slapped? You're going to slap our hand?
Yeah, and it's not a problem at all. That is something that we've kind of anticipate and are expecting. So these measures, they're going to be tailored specifically to your district. So at any point, if you decide, hey, we want to add on a different field, or we want to add an indicator, or maybe it's been running and you find out that, you know, this one indicator is maybe too strict, or maybe it's too broad and you aren't getting quite the right students, we can always edit it to make it more efficient and, you know, streamline to you guys. So that's not a problem at all to go in and modify it.
Nice to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, not a problem.
All right. Well, thank you for the day or the time. We certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, not a problem at all. If I'll shoot you an email with those follow-ups. And if you guys have any questions at all in the meantime, whether it's with the early alerts or setting up a new measure, or really anything, feel free to give me a call or, you know, just shoot me an email.
Sounds great. Thanks, Christy.
Yep, thanks guys.
Bye.
Bye.